just relax, just relax. And if you've ever been told that, if you're operating up here and someone says, well, just relax, you know that that doesn't work. Why is it so hard to just be able to relax? Today, I'm going to talk about in this video and some things you can do to really change that. My name's Rocelle Walsh. If you're new to me, I've been a complex trauma therapist for many years, and I help women break free from chronic stress and overwhelm. So I wish I could just relax. I can't shut my mind off, even when things ease up a little bit in my schedule, or I have time to myself. My mind is racing and my body just feels like it's wired. This is what I hear a lot. So why is it that I can't just relax? So I'm going to talk about the why, because it's really important to understand that if you don't understand this really on a deeper level, you're going to continue to think it's about your schedule, that it's about the demands of your family or your job, and you're not going to be able to really recognize what it really takes to change this. And I think all of us intuitively know that rest is a good thing, right? God created it. It's part of the natural rhythm of life. We need it for restoration, and we need it just to be able to engage and truly enjoy the life that we have. But for so many people, they're stuck in their heads or under this constant need to go, 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 or overthinking, overdoing, overperforming. And so I want to talk about it. So the first thing is that if you are someone who can't relax, you're going to listen to these, and one of them or more of them is going to really resonate with you, because being stuck in a state of high fight or flight is not a natural state for us. Fight or flight was meant to get us out of danger. It should not be the state of our norm. And so if it is, it's really detrimental to our relationship, our mental well-being. I believe, for me, when I'm in that state of spiritual, I'm not resting in the faith that I know. So it is a complicating factor in my faith. It's a frustration there, and it affects our performance. It affects our health. So not a state we want to live in. So the first thing is to understand is that, again, this fight or flight was created for us to get out of danger. And so stress in some ways helps us, get out of danger when it's necessary, physical danger. And so it's oriented around safety. So if you're someone who can't relax, then that, and if it goes way back, if people say, well, I think I've just always been an anxious person. I can remember all the way back to childhood, and I've always been a worrier. I've always been anxious. Then probably on some level, you didn't feel safe, maybe emotionally, maybe physically. Maybe there was tension in the system that you sensed and perceived. And so this state of hypervigilance allowed you to be hyper attuned to what was going on in your environment so that you could protect yourself. And by protect yourself, I don't mean just physically fight off an intruder, but be able to please people, be able to get approval, be able to reduce tension, be able to be seen. So this, if you're stuck in high fight or flight, part of that is at some point, it was organized around safety. Okay, that's the first thing. The second part is that at some point, it may have become part of your identity. So you're the one who always gets things done. You're the fixer. You're the one who's responsible for everyone in the system, even before you were a parent. You're the one who doesn't say no. You're the one who goes the extra mile. So it's become part of an identity, and part of that identity, it's safety. There's safety in being the planner, the one who's in control, the one who knows how to get things done, the one who doesn't need anything, the one who's hyper responsible and resilient. And so it's become kind of part of an identity. And for a lot of that, there's a lot of social reinforcement, right? Like, I don't know how much you get someone, I don't know how you do it all, or you're so strong, or I don't know what we would do without you. You're so invaluable to the family, to the organization. There's a lot of reinforcement that goes with being someone who is always putting out fires around them and taking care of everyone else. So, it's not just that we say, oh, I am this way and I like it and it's part of my identity, but actually that other people really like it too, and other people reinforces it, and the system reinforces it. And so that's the second reason is, the first was safety, second is identity, and the third is habit. When our nervous system is firing in a certain way, just like any other habit that we have, which is a habit is a combination of repeated thoughts, emotions, behaviors. And so that cluster of habit has become something that's very, just runs in our autopilot without having to think about it. It just is the way we filter information, the way we process through, the way we interact with our world. And so it's, again, around safety initially, it's around identity, and then it's around habit. And there is a habit that forms around chronic stress. So just like any habit, if we were to quit smoking, quit drinking, eliminate sugar from our diets, if we are to break any habit, there is going to be a period of discomfort that we move through in changing that. So a lot of times people say, well, I wish I could just relax. It should be so easy to just lay down or close my eyes or, leave my laptop at the office. But just like any habit, there's discomfort that comes up when we try to change that habit, when we try to release that, even if it's a good thing. So if we were wanting to stop drinking caffeine, even though we might be making that choice for health reasons, and it would be a healthy change we were making, there would still be discomfort when we stopped with that normal caffeine intake. And so if we think about the habit of being stuck in fight or flight, or the habit of overachieving and not resting, so the habit of staying busy, when we go to slow down, and that's why sometimes people say, I can't close my eyes, or I can't sit and rock, because the antsiness, the anxiety that comes up within me when I try to be still in my mind or in my body comes up. And so we need to be able to think about that as the habit of busyness or overperformance or perfectionism, and that whenever we're changing the habit, meaning we are going to develop new neural pathways, and we're going to be releasing some, that we're going to move through some discomfort. So it's not as simple as just saying, well, just relax. And if you've ever been told that, if you're operating up here and someone says, well, just relax, you know that doesn't work, right? Even when we're saying it to ourselves. So we have to understand that these things, safety, identity, and habit, are deeply embedded in the nervous system, in the lower brain. And so we're not going to be able to reason out of it or should ourselves out of it. And a change of scenery doesn't change it. What we really need to do is develop new neurosystems, new neural pathways, right, of calm. We need to make rest and digest the habit of our nervous system, the default state, rather than fight or flight. And that's why I often say information is not transformation, because you can read about what's happening, just like you could read a book about addiction, or you could read a book about building a log cabin. That doesn't mean at the end of that book you have the result. And so many times with self-help books, we think once we have the insight and once we have the information, then we're going to have the result. But the result is a product of the action that we take based on the information. So I always try to give my clients and the people in my online program a lot of education around why we're doing what we're doing, but there has to be change at a deeper level if you want to be able to just relax. So I have a masterclass below, Secrets to a Calm Mind. I'd encourage you to watch it if you want to understand more about the brain and some of the things that I'm talking about. Again, just like with anything, the information alone doesn't change the outcome, but the information is oftentimes the catalyst to making a decision. And so it's not going to be as simple as just relaxing, but it can be as simple as making the decision that to go on in a chronic state of overwhelm or fight or flight is just not for you. And when you make that decision, let me tell you what changes. What changes is your health. What changes is the joy that you find in life, and also the legacy you pass down. The number one predictor of a child's emotional and mental health later in life is the relationship that they have with their parents. So it not only changes things for us, but it changes generational patterns. So in my mind, it's it's one of the most important things we can do in terms of growth and self-development. So I hope that's helpful. Please subscribe to my channel if you want more information like this about various topics of emotional well-being. I have a neuroscience-based approach paired with principles of faith. I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel if this kind of stuff resonates with you. See you in the next video.